Hello. In this video, I'm going to be replacing my crappy, banged up stock skid plate with a aluminum RCI skid plate. I'm not gonna waste any time talking. I'm just gonna get straight to the video. It's very straightforward. You just take off your skid plate and put this on. Your first step is obviously going to be putting the parking brake up. But after that, you just want to take out all of the bolts holding the skid plate, including this clip here. First bolts are there. Back bolts are in there, in these holes. 4 bolts, they're 12 millimeters. And then the skid plate should fall down. Mine may look a little bit different, but you also want to go ahead and take off this plastic shield as well. And those, I believe, are 10 millimeter bolts. Now comes the hardest part in this entire job, which is pulling the skid plate off. If you don't have a lift on your car, you're either going to want to pull your car up on a curb, or you're going to want to put your car up on jacks. But since I have a lift on my car, I'm able to get away with just pulling a skid plate straight off. But your skid plate has hooks on it on the front here that are kind of difficult to get off. But as you can see, mine came right off. You want to pull forward. Pull forward, this comes down, then you pull out. And that'll give you a pretty decent idea of how that is supposed to work, I hope. All right, y'all, I forgot to record me taking out the bolts, but there will be 4 bolts holding in this rear skid plate if you have it on your car. The first 2 will be right in those holes. They'll be 12 millimeters, and then the other 2 will be back here, right there, and over there on the other side. Those are also 12 millimeters. They'll be sticking out, it'll be obvious. And then all you do afterwards is push it toward the rear of the car and down, and it comes out. Just wanted to show you bolt positioning real quick before we go ahead and mount our skid plate. So you'll have 6 mounting points. These will go in the front, these will go in the middle, and these will go in the ends with the skid plate in between the washer and the spacer. These middle bolts, they're exactly the same. They're all exactly the same, so it doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is these back bolts. All right, now that you have everything set up, just go ahead and put your skid plate on. Here's a time lapse of me installing the skid plate. First, before I brought the skid plate in, I hand tightened screws in there to make sure that all the threads fit properly. And then you see me hand tightening the screws as I'm holding up the skid plate to make sure they're seated properly, because the last thing you want is to cross thread a bolt holding in your skid plate. I also suggest getting a jack to hold the new skid plate up, because I was pretty much holding the plate with my hand the entire time I was installing it, and that kind of got old. What I had to do next was, in that deeper hole, I had to adjust the skid plate to line up with the hole on the body, and so I just looked down the hole to make sure that they were lined up. Keep in mind that I'm not tightening these bolts all the way. I tightened them about 50% to give the skid plate some play, and that allowed me to slip the spacer in pretty easily. Then after I got the 2 rear ones on, I went ahead and put in the last bolt, which was the passenger side middle bolt in the deep hole. Then I went ahead and tightened the one in the other hole. And then the last thing you need to do, this is optional, but I went ahead and did it. Go ahead and torque all these bolts to 30 foot-pounds of torque. If you don't have a torque wrench, that's fine too. Just make sure you get them good and tight without over-torquing them. If this video helped you, please consider liking and subscribing, and enjoy your new skid plate.